Hello and welcome to the VR Gamescast. Welcome. We are live every single Thursday. I'm Xena. I'm going to be your host. And with me, as always, is Jamie Feltham.
You did that so much like I thought there was going to be some sort of transition.
Yeah.
Gamescast. Let's get on with it. Xena, good to see you.
Good to see you too. I've been seeing you all day.
Yeah.
Good to see you live on the internet.
Again, in real life again this week. For this time, I think the studio is working, but about an hour before the show, we were like, "Oh, where's the second quest?" Oh yeah, someone else. We borrowed it to someone. We borrowed it to someone. We lent it to someone. Yeah, so we're back again. Everyone that is surprised to see your face right now. This is Xena's last podcast.
This one
Today.
I didn't just
peace
dump
out
it on
after
you.
the last one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we didn't communicate that last week, but yeah, this is Xena's final podcast.
This right here is my final one. I'm going to enjoy it very, very much. It's a very short one. Yeah.
You don't know how it's going to go.
I always enjoy the VR Gamescast. Why not?
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, we are not alone. Hello to everyone in chat, including Opsar, Dream is Great, Giant Penguin, Nocturnal Blue Rose, Onikazi, Absolute Boy, But or Something, Skiba, George, and Ollie, and Hussein, and Aria, and all of you guys, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Also, shout out to our members. What are you laughing about?
Monica is picking up on my terrible grammar. Or just not even terrible grammar, just my ability to speak, which is awful. I'm going
to borrow this to you. Sorry. Shout out to our members. There's an additional one since last week. So, Anthony Mann Wexford, Miles Dyer, The Shermeka 30, Tazzy, Handy, Pernama, Daniel Barween, Jerome Houston, Andrew King, Skiva, Sexy Bicycle, Devin Miller, Matthew May, Rick Ted, Robert Quinones times 2. He's got 2 accounts and he has become a member on both. Amazing.
A super fan, you might say.
There's 360 Pickleball, Smash Reality, Adam Hartzell, John Weischer, and Dominic Frontman. Thank you so much for supporting us month in, month out.
How long has 360 Pickleball been a member?
Do you know what? They changed their name and I had their original name for a long time.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, where did that come from?
And then I lost my, pre-written list of everyone. And then I can't remember what their name is anymore. So it's 360 Pickleball.
I think we have someone joining us in the chat. A ghost from Christmas past, perhaps.
Oh, hey! The Juggernauts, a.k.a. David.
Watch out, everyone. Meta's in the chat. We're being surveilled. We're being surveyed.
What up? Cool. Yeah,
hello,
as
friend.
I said, we have got a pretty short week. Oh, he's gone onto his main account. He's changed from his alt account to his main account. We got a pretty short show this week. We're going to be talking about a new AAA studio, The Last Worker, and we're going to be talking about Xbox's moves on VR, whether or not...
Moves.
Ooh, what moves?
Oh, you put the moves in there.
So, yeah, cool. Let's get into the AAA studio. nDreams. nDreams, developers of Fract and Phantom Covert Ops, and publishers of the upcoming Little Cities, not Cities. They're opening up a third studio.
Cities VR.
Cities VR.
Yeah.
Cities. They're opening up a new VR studio completely dedicated to high-end AAA games. The studio is called... Let's head on over to the TV.
I'm David Hayter.
Oh, there's
Phantom Covert Ops.
It's called Elevation. Wait, over there. Wait. It hasn't announced its first project yet, but nDreams did, I think this year, open up another studio.
Last year.
This
year's been 20 days, so that would have been really
in
impressive.
in the past.
Oh, I
year.
see. In the past 365 days, that has happened.
You.
You're very right.
In the
very
past.
Correct.
Pickleball 360. They opened up Orbital, which is dedicated to live service VR gaming. I'm going to chuck on Phantom Covert Ops because that is always a fun one to look at while we talk about this. This is cool. AAA games. nDreams hasn't done a AAA game?
Oh, well, it depends what... it's one of those buzzwords, isn't it, where the according to their marketing, they've probably made like 5 or 6. but what parameters you have for that are, the debatable thing, right? Like, I mean, Fract, I would say production-wise, Fract was pretty close to AAA. It was just very, very short, so that kind of, in my estimations, kind of took it down to a AA, I guess you'd say. But the thing about this, for me, is just, like, it's great to see a studio growing.
Yes, of
especially
course.
a studio that's put so much time and investment and commitment into VR, and not just VR, but like they've done original concepts pretty much across the board. From the good like Phantom to the bad like Danger Goat. And the interesting thing about this to me is it just tells you that this studio definitely has some very confident investors behind it, right? Because last time we visited nDreams, I think the main office, which is near London, is like kind of close to maybe like 100 people head count or something like that. So that's an extraordinary figure for a VR like a VR exclusive developer to start with. Then you've got the publishing arm, which is going to take up more people. And then you've got Orbital, which you were talking about, which is going to take up more people. You assume that that's going to grow up to be a pretty significant team as well in the coming year. In fact, I actually just saw they hired the director of Sniper Elite VR last year, and he just tweeted out that they are looking for their first design roles now. So that expansion's coming. And then there's this one as well, which if you're going to be making AAA games, you're going to be scaling up really, really quickly, aren't you?
Yeah.
Or at least scaling up very, very large. And it's like, well, I'm sure Fract sold okay. I'm sure Phantom sold well. I remember Phantom being among those that had made $1 million in revenue on Quest when that was announced. I think in 2020. Sorry.
God's sake.
So if you haven't had the mega amazing hits yet, and I think these games are good, and I don't know the sales, but I highly doubt they were the kind to sustain not like 100 people, let alone for the next couple of years, let alone then an extra 2 studios. You've got to have some backing out there somewhere that really, really believes that VR is going places, and this is going to be a studio to take it forward, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think there are quite a few big spenders out there. People who do want to back it and do want to see VR grow. If you don't pump the money into it now, where the heck is it going to go? Nowhere.
Do you think we would seeing as this is the theme of the season, do you think some of it is kind of a play for an acquisition somewhere? Like
for nDreams? Yeah,
like you buy nDreams, you get 3 dedicated VR studios. We've already done a PSVR exclusive. We've already done an Oculus exclusive. Them
to be acquired by someone
by
else.
either a Sony or a Meta or...
I don't think so. I don't think so. They actually remind me a lot of non-VR studio Rebellion. They've got lots of studios dotted around, but they're very much just strong by themselves.
Well, that's happening in a couple of ways, right? We have Sumo as well. Sumo Digital are big everywhere else. And then, who did eValkyrie use? I think eValkyrie went to Sumo, didn't it? The CCP guys went to... CCP Newcastle, I should say. Went to Sumo as well, I think. So, you're right. There is that kind of market there for large-scale indies.
I don't think they're AAA. I don't think they're indies. It's like Rebellion. It's like... Sumo has done a few, but I still wouldn't call it like AAA, like most of their stuff.
They have this kind of B-movie feel, right?
Yeah, but it's got a finish to it that is more than just an indie studio. Yeah. You know that it's a bit more, but it's not quite at... say, Activision.
Yeah. Well, that's
which we'll bring up later. But I don't think they're quite there. But I think they're thriving.
And so the other point to it, right, is that this is AAA. The Orbital Studio is free to play, but the head office in the UK is still there making its own games, so it's free studios, and the Elevation Studio is being headed up by. I can't remember the name, but someone that had a lot of involvement in the creation of Phantom. So I feel like there's potential scope for, if Phantom 2 is going to be a thing, maybe
Glenn Brace.
Yeah, there you go, Glenn Brace, who was art director at nDreams Normal for the longest time and is now heading up Elevation. I feel like if there's going to be a Phantom 2 sounds like you'd take your figurehead from that franchise, you put them over here, and that's what they're working on. And maybe then OG nDreams, maybe they're working on another Fract, or maybe there's yet more new IP to come from them. I feel like, I was thinking about this today, how good would it be if we got, this is just complete speculation, how good would it be if we got like an expanded version of Fract for PSVR 2? I would love that.
Yeah.
Or just just Fract remastered next year.
Fract remastered would be amazing.
Yeah, and it definitely feels like there's that the story in that game is sparse enough to like throw in an extra couple of chapters here and there, or add on a DLC ending or something like that.
Absolutely, and well, it's kind of like, I don't know, they modeled it after like action movies, right?
Yeah.
If they could carry on an action movie way, like, oh, here's the next corporation we're gonna...
Rocky 5.
Rocky 5 it.
Yeah. Or no, I should say Rocky 4, really, shouldn't I? Against Drago. Anyway, so yeah, it's really interesting. I don't think we'll see any kind of possible announcement out of them for at least a year. They're going to be hiring, they're going to be in pre-production. They've really got to get a lot of that stuff sorted out. They're a remote team right now, but you can go in and work in the London office. If you get a job there, you can't just go in. And eventually they said that they'll find a new headquarters in the UK. So, potential to branch out across the country and draw from a different talent pool as well, which is really, really interesting. But yeah, interesting. Next thing we see from nDreams is going to be Little Cities, like you said, which is not from... And there's been some confusion on this recently. nDreams is not developing Little Cities. And it's not a case of them being like, oh, we don't have the money to do anything else, let's do Little Cities. nDreams is publishing Little Cities from a much, much smaller developer and ending up helping them. So it's not a case that they're kind of backtracking on like a commitment to VR or like scaling down for Quest or anything else. It's literally just a publishing effort. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Other things? I can't remember.
They kind of took a first stab at publishing once before, and they did Bloody Zombies, which was not good. It was a 2D. It's the kind of game you like, a 2D side-scroller beat 'em up, but with like optional VR support. And when you put the headset on, you're like, why is this in VR?
Yeah.
And then I think they had some other deals that maybe didn't come through. I can't remember. And a couple of years ago, they re-announced their redoubled efforts. And I think that an interesting parallel between the two of them is this and Fast Travel, right? Because Fast Travel also have their own publishing line. And it seems like those are two very similar scale developers. And of course, Vertigo is about the same size now. After the fall... another studio in Amsterdam obviously got acquired by Embracer Group, obviously do their own publishing as well. So I think if you like scale out a bit and look at those three studios, they're the ones to really look at in terms of the growth some of these people have had.
The fact that they're mainly VR studios, what the hell? That's amazing.
Well, it's driven by investor confidence and stuff, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I know after the fall was made some good money because obviously it made more than Arizona Sunshine did, and Arizona Sunshine, that's such a hard name to say fast, did very, very well for Vertigo right out the gate. So I know it's going well for them, but now they have publisher backing. They had that announcement at Connect about publishing 5 games in partnership with Oculus, which you have to assume some money's changing hands or something there. So it's not all it's amazing they've grown, but it's not all self-sustaining stuff yet. It's not. None of them have gone and made hundreds of millions on Phantom or After the Fall or Apex Construct or Wraith.
Yeah.
So it's great to see them growing, but I guess it's kind of. I was talking to someone yesterday, and they said it's kind of the or get off the pot moment. Like either just like either go all in,
poo or get off the pot. Yeah.
Like you can't just keep pushing out these little things and hoping they might go somewhere. It has to be, all right, this is all or nothing. All your lovely investment money is going into these big products for Quest that we think are going to do really well, for PSVR 2 that we think are going to do really well. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm fascinated to see where all of this goes, because this is a level of VR developer, like even Stress Level Zero, who has obviously had like massive success with Boneworks. I don't think they're huge in number. I think they've kept it kind of small since. We haven't heard a lot of hiring news out of them.
Thank you for that gross extension of the joke, Onikazi. Keep straining that metaphor. Thank you. Yeah, it's great. And again, it just sets us up thinking 2022 is going to be freaking amazing, isn't it? I think some really cool stuff. If it's not going to be released, it's going to be announced.
I hope so.
Yeah,
Otherwise
we can't have another 2021. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I know what you mean. It's just, I think we talk about this every podcast. I just wish these people would get their marketing plans to be a bit more long term, so I had some sort of idea of what's coming in summer, not just January, which has been like, oh, by the way, Lost Recipes and Zenith and Wanderer and Hitman 3, they're all out in the last 2 weeks, and we're only going to tell you a week 4.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I would love to have more of a roadmap for 2022, as it were.
Cool. All right. Speaking of great games for 2022, I'm going to keep saying 2022. Last Worker, we just got a trailer for it.
Have you watched this?
Yeah. I watched it before we jumped on, actually. So you may have played a demo for this. Was it this year? This past year?
In the past 12 months, there was a demo for the game at the Venice Film Festival, yes, and I played that.
Cool. And if you've listened to this podcast before and joined us, we've definitely mentioned this before. Mm-hmm. The trailer shows us more about characters, more about the story, and more about the gameplay as well.
So, I guess if you haven't heard of the game before, it's kind of a story-driven thing. It's coming to VR and flat screen, but I've played it on Quest, and I have to say, when I played it on Quest, I thought it was really, really impressive. Even though we didn't see much gameplay from it yet, I thought visually, storytelling confidence, I thought, this doesn't feel like, the kind of standard that we usually get to experience with VR. This feels like someone that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, which it is from someone who knows what they're doing.
Me? I know what I'm doing.
Wolfenwood.
Oh, yeah, okay, Wolfenwood. You're very true. That's very true. It's not just Wolfenwood. There's a second studio involved. All of this is escaping my brain right now, and a different director. And if you're watching, I apologise for not getting all your names. I imagine Xena's about to dig up some details for me. Oifi, there you go. And the whole point of the game is that you are in the Jungle Fulfillment Center. Jungle being a riff on Amazon.
It'd be Jungle. I don't know if
oh, maybe it is, but you're in you're on this riff of Amazon, basically, in their kind of warehouse, and you've been working there for years and years and years, and you've become this old kind of jaded figure, and that's kind of where we are at it right now. It's kind of clear there's very sinister intentions behind the corporation. You kind of end up with like a kind of, I think, an AI kind of companion voiced by Jason Isaacs, who is
that again?
Lucius Malfoy in Malfoy
dad. Malfoy's dad.
Yeah, well, I'm the cultured among us will know him for a great many other things, I'm sure, but
but you scum, it's Malfoy's dad.
Well, I could say other things. I think he was in Death of Stalin. There you go. Yeah. So I think this is looking. I think I'm very, very interested in this one. What we see from the gameplay here is this kind of gravity gun-esque, grab a parcel, teleport it to a different part of the facility kind of stuff. And you're not seeing something that is gameplay-wise necessarily looking like it's going to speak to some unique element of VR. Again, it's also coming to Switch, it's coming to like flat screens and stuff. I'm just really interested in it as a assured piece of storytelling, I think.
So Onikazi has just said something very intelligent. A cultured
man.
A cultured man. You must know him for more than Draco Malfoy, Dad. Onikazi just said, is this not a reference to the book by Upton Sinclair? So the book, I just Googled it. This is the great thing about, sorry, I shouldn't be saying about the great thing about not being in VR, but I could Google stuff. The Jungle is a 1906 novel by American journalist and novelist Upton Sinclair. The novel portrays the harsh conditions and exploited lives of immigrants in the United States and Chicago and similar industrialized cities.
Well, now I'm glad I didn't claim myself to be a cultured man.
Yeah. It's a great mesh of the two. I think for the Draco Malfoy dad believers, it's an Amazon ripoff. Which it is. I mean, look at it. You're literally in a warehouse moving things.
I really hope this is one of those games that next, like Meta Connect, Mark Zuckerberg's like, we're really happy with the success of this game, and then they bring up an image of this CEO with the rainbow buzz cut thing right there, and everyone's like, yeah, Mark. Yeah, Mark. Didn't really get it, did you, man?
Yeah, I think that this looks fantastic. Obviously, most of it is animation mixed in with gameplay. Check out the trailer. We've got another trailers channel, FYI.
I haven't put it on there yet, but yes. Okay,
we're going to have it on there. So, obviously, we've got UploadVR channel on YouTube, but there's also VR trailers and clips where we upload a lot of this stuff.
But I think if you'd asked me what my personal most anticipated games, VR games for 2022 are, this has been on somewhere near the top of that list for a long time, for sure, because it was just so refreshing. Like you said, 2021 was a so-so year for VR content. We got some really good stuff towards the end of the year, but I played this in August, towards the end of August, and it was just so refreshing to play something on Quest that felt polished and assured. And I can't wait to see where we go with it next.
It's also 2D says Xbox on the ad.
Yes. Yeah. It's on flat screen. It's coming to Switch. It's everything like that. But so yeah, I mean, but that's, that might mean it makes some money.
Yeah, great game. Looking forward to it. It says just it's coming this year.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see when the release date is. All
yeah,
right.
For sure.
Moving on to our last biddy bob.
What is our last biddy bob?
Our last biddy bob is our topic on Xbox and where the heck are they on VR. So this is something that was proposed by Jamie. You're
so
writing
blame
up.
him if there's nothing to talk about.
I'm gonna let you take it from here. But you're writing up an editorial right now, so it's very fresh in your brain. If you may or may know, Microsoft made some acquisitions this week. Certain acquisitions that made rumbles within the gaming industry. They bought up Activision Blizzard, so that includes games such as Call of Duty, Overwatch, StarCraft, and a little known game, Candy Crush. So what does this mean for Xbox? They're moving more towards basically taking over gaming. VR is part of gaming. Where the heck is it?
There's a lot to pick apart with it because it's becoming increasingly frustrating that the Xbox brand, and it's very important to make that distinction because Microsoft does have things going on in VR. It's just on a public-facing front, very quiet on the Xbox front at the moment. And it's becoming increasingly frustrating because, as we talk about this question of Sony being backed more and more into a corner by the financial might of Microsoft and hey, you might have been doing really well in your business, but you're not Microsoft and we've just bought a bunch of stuff and, you kind of have to reckon with that reality now. The same is true of VR gamers, essentially, right? Like, the thing, people have long said the indicator that VR has gone mainstream would be, like, Call of Duty coming to VR. And people have long said that one of the realizations of how cool VR could be was a version of World of Warcraft that you could spend hours and hours in. And granted, we're getting those in different ways. Like, obviously, Zenith is coming out towards the end of the month, and that's some kind of, like, indication of where we're going with that. But it feels like this kind of weird era of gatekeeping, especially because Microsoft owns so many studios that have done great VR content in the past. So it's obviously it now owns Bethesda, who had a Wolfenstein VR game, a Doom VR game, Skyrim in VR, two Doom VR games, Prey got a VR like VR support. They were very much invested in some experimental smaller stuff that could have grown out into like something much more interesting, right? Then you have Ninja Theory, who did Hellblade VR, who did Dext, I think their game was called. Then you have In Exile, who did a little known game called Frostpoint, which you can't play anymore. Wow, somehow in 2022 we are still finding ways to reference Frostpoint.
Well, we should have on radio stations where they mention something and they have like a whoop whoop kind of sound.
Yeah.
We should have something like that, like
burr.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, basically.
Or a burr. Sorry, carry on.
So there's different strains of implications for this, and I think in the near term it's just like, oh guys, come on, just flip the switch already, right? Because on the Microsoft side, on the PC side, there's the Reverb G2, which they've had a heavy hand in. They built the reference platform for that headset. They obviously had the whole stab at Windows Mixed Reality, which the G2 is a part of, but has kind of fizzled out because I think like 5 games ended up coming to it, like Super Hot, Job Simulator, and some other stuff. So they obviously have the penchant for the technology, and then they obviously have a stable of studios that if they just said, okay, here's some money to go and make a great exclusive lineup for our headset, they would bring serious heat to PSVR to like overnight, basically, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that this acquisition brought down PlayStation.
Oh, exactly.
By 20
million? The stock, their stock dropped by 20 million, which is amazing. Huge. But like those are very reactionary things. I'm sure it'll recover over time, especially as PlayStation looks to make whatever announcements it needs to make. But that's the other part of it, is this longer term view of Microsoft. Sony and Microsoft are basically doing two very different gambles right now. And Microsoft gets a lot of credit for its gamble on Game Pass because it's doing these big brash movements that I think anyone can kind of understand how in 10 to 15 to 20 years from now, you could turn on your TV, press the Xbox app, and start playing a bunch of great content that's exclusive to Games Pass, much like, you load up Netflix because, you first loaded up Netflix because it was a cool, convenient service and relatively cheap. Now you load it because they have exclusive movies and TV shows and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then I don't think Sony gets enough credit for their long-term gamble on VR, which is now really proving to be something. They're going into their second generation headset in a big way. And again, I always bring up that quote from Jim Ryan that said, I think we're going to do great business with PSVR 2. I think there's something much bigger for VR further down, and we reported last summer on wider Sony Corp hiring for another VR headset, a next generation VR headset, which potentially means like a standalone system or something like that. And that's something I don't think Sony gets enough credit for, and I think it's much harder to look at that gamble. Forgive me. I think it's much harder to look at that gamble as something that's going to pay off on the scale of Games Pass. But right now, with the head start they've got over Xbox by jumping into VR much more than Xbox has, there is headway to be made, and they could still emerge as winners in a new hardware space, right? Which is why, essentially, this news this week is so frustrating, because when you look at the near term or long term, Xbox is becoming an increasingly massive part of digital content production, which means it's becoming an increasingly massive part of VR without actually being there. And a lot of people, the Wall Street Journal, I think, angled its article as like a play for the metaverse, and everyone on Twitter was like, "What are you talking about? Stop mentioning the metaverse." And I totally get why, but also at the same time, we like if the vision that people have of that thing ends up being as big as everyone as many billionaires hope it will be, you can't not have content teams of this size with IP of that significance not playing a major role in it, right? Like you can't not have a metaverse where you don't just step into an Overwatch room or step into a Call of Duty, like you jump out of a plane onto the Call of Duty island or something like that from Warzone.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like, people hate mentioning the metaverse, but unless the whole concept is a dud, and we do really find that just individual app ecosystems and everything like that are the best way to interact with VR still going forward, we are kind of on this inevitable collision course. Mm-hmm. And so the question that comes from all of these acquisitions to me is just when are you going to do this? When do you, Xena, think they should do it? Should they do it now? That's probably
No,
trigger. If you
I
want.
don't think so.
You think, why not? Why do you think they should keep on waiting?
Phil Spencer's almost like trying to flank Sony or PlayStation. Like, PlayStation is trying to branch out. They're very innovative and they're very experimentative. But I think he's trying to steal gaming in the long term. I think just like Portal Player said, Xbox doesn't really care about VR. Right now, yeah, but then Onikazi makes a great point in chat saying it depends on the studios if they continue to make VR content. I think it would actually have to come from the studio saying, if we're going to be on your platform and if you're really going to take over, you're going to have to make space for VR. I think that could be more the way that it goes rather than Phil Spencer saying, actually, I really love VR now.
Yeah.
I think
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, to Onikazi's point as well, there's nothing announced that I know of from Xbox-owned studios that are doing VR projects, but, you know, like Sony put out the statement today saying contractually we expect you to still apply to everything that you've already signed with these guys.
Yeah. Like
they did with Deathloop and like they're going to do with Ghostwire Tokyo, which is a PlayStation exclusive, even though it's a timed PlayStation exclusive. There could be some of those deals still left in the pipeline because Bethesda released Doom, like surprise announced, and then a couple of weeks later released Doom 3 VR long after it's bought by Xbox. So there's every chance that Sony's been lining up Activision exclusives or Blizzard exclusives for PSVR 2, and there's still
many years to
a long line of VR content from them. But it's really, really, really interesting. And he's here saying VR will be inextricably linked to gaming in the long term. Spencer risks being caught off guard just as Borna was caught off guard too late by mobile. And that is a very, very good point. And I think you even saw that kind of in the PC VR ecosystem. It was happening there too. You had Steam VR, you had Oculus, and then you had Windows MR, just by how delayed and then not brilliantly thought out Windows MR ended up being. Although obviously if you're a distant third, that's really quite impressive next to Oculus, which on PC almost isn't relevant anymore now. But like Heaney says, this stuff is inextricably linked to the future of gaming. This stuff is
absolutely.
And I truly believe, and like you do too, and obviously Heaney does, and I believe a great many people in this chat believe as well, that these are collision courses we're talking about here. There is going to come a point where you're not going to be able to ignore VR. And Sony's going to benefit massively from having PSVR 2 and having another great big pool of user data to draw from for headset 3, and and teams that are going to work on it in-house and develop best practices and make breakthroughs that they're going to get to call their own and then implement into future projects. And Microsoft so far has got a Halo game where you shoot 2D cutouts on a 2D window. And what I did, it's time to. I said a couple of years ago, like, I kind of agree with the strategy because you're not going to make any money from it right now, and you can you have the resources to jump in whenever you want. But now you own so much of this industry that kind of being ignorant towards VR for much longer is going to start to cost you, I think. Like, especially with the Series S being more powerful than a PS5. I mean, on paper or whatever. It seems like there's so much potential in that console and that premium VR experience with all those IP combined.
I think
just hurry up and do it.
Yeah, I think they're just letting everyone else do the messy work of paving the way. I think do you know what? Okay, if you want an actual time frame, I would say probably a good 2 to 4 years after PSVR 2, depending on how well it has performed. If it has,
I think that's very good.
Continued to keep going and going and going, then he's going to be like, he being Phil Spencer is
Lord Phil.
He's going to be like, okay, well, I'm not the one who has had to pump money into this on this gamble. I don't think he's here to gamble on anything.
Well, that's 68 billion. He's definitely gambling somewhere.
Sure,
but that's just where so much of the money is, isn't it?
But I feel like he's always gone for like sure things like, okay, gaming, that's a sure
The things that make sense, right?
The studios, that makes sense. Yeah, it's everything that makes sense. He's not going to go for something that, it's only getting into its second generation and people are still a little bit wobbly on it. I know, VR has had a great Christmas.
Well, it's had a great 2 years, but 2 years is still nothing in the grand scheme of things. And a great 2 years compared to a very bad 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right that there is still just this kind of unknown quantity about it, and is the Quest a flash in the pan or something? Mm-hmm. I that's a great point to make, because I think in 2 years you're going to be looking at least at Quest, if not PSVR 2, and saying, all right, we have to do something here, right?
Also think about it, because they are being linked so much with PC gaming, with the Games Passes, the PC Games Pass and Xbox. They have to come up against Steam in terms of a great ecosystem for VR as well.
Yeah.
You know, there are two markets, basically, console and PC.
Yeah.
That he's going to have to come up against.
Yeah, I mean, the Microsoft Store has been improving over the past couple of years. I would say they probably play third place to Steam, then Epic, then Microsoft, probably. But you're right that but that's to their advantage at the end of the day. They could have something that not only does console but also does PC, and then you could potentially with Quest 2 you have a 2-in-1 of standalone and PC, but you could be doing standalone PC and console, and that could be a really, really big draw as well. But I think you're right that it will take 2 or 3 years. This is we're still just at the start of this generation, and I feel like these generations are going to be protracted somewhat because of how long it's taken to get over all of the shipping issues and component issues. And it feels like very much like 2021 was a soft launch year for these headsets in some ways, consoles. Yeah. So I feel like there's still plenty of time for them to get in the game. I just wish they were putting out a bit more messaging to not every time you ask Phil Spencer about it, him to be like, "Oh, I actually don't hear that much about it," because it's like, I think at this point you probably do, especially after a Christmas where Oculus hit top of the App Store. You saw loads of people unwrapping stuff. You saw Resident Evil 4 selling more software on Quest than any other Quest app before it. We're so on that trajectory now that it can't be that much longer, I don't think. And whatever reported plans they had for VR on Xbox One X, I forget how to say even the past consoles' names now. That's where they need to update that and be ready to go, basically. 2024, just January, CES come out and say, oh, here's Xbox VR, and then by holiday season have everything from Boneworks to Alex on it, along with a Halo or a Call of Duty or something like that. And that's just them firing the gun, because the other big thing about it, right, is that Microsoft competes with Sony on that level, but they are a company that can compete with Facebook, Google, and Apple too. They are the company with that kind of capital. So the earlier they do it, the faster they can get out in front of those or join up with those companies, basically.
Several things in chat. Chris Richardson said, so Xena's going to Microsoft, yeah? No. No. Skiva says, I think Phil Spencer needs to be replaced. But then I think Heaney said something very interesting. I kind of skimmed over it. I don't know if I've got the right idea. That Xbox's next big bet is on cloud, and it depends on how cloud gaming works with VR. I think that's generally... Well,
let's read it out. Ironically, Xbox's big bet on cloud is a bet on bringing billions of new people into developing markets into core gaming. That's very true. People who typically can't or don't own consoles on their own TV I misread that. People who typically can't / don't own their own TV and console. But these people are exactly the people who VR has the most value proposition to. So it may be riskier in the long term than he may believe. That's true. That's very, very interesting. That's the interesting thing about these two long-term gambles is if you looked at it right now, you would say like, oh yeah, Game Pass makes the most sense. It's the easiest, it's easily the better one to invest in. But I also believe that, you know, we're going to be seeing VR go to interesting new markets and elevate quicker and quicker and quicker and start like just really heating up in the next couple of years. And But or something also mentions HoloLens, which is not something we've talked about. That's another interesting avenue into all of this, right? You know, they have been very coy on the possibility of a consumer HoloLens. I asked them that question the day they announced the HoloLens 2, and in a very guarded way, they were like, we have nothing to announce right now. And obviously it's been 2 or 3 years since then, but that's going to be a thing one day. And they are very much in the immersive sector in that way. And we've seen them use their IP before. You know, they had the Conquer game, which everyone would rather not talk about, but that was on HoloLens 1. And, you know, there have been some gaming experiences and experiments there as well. But that's, again, totally something that you want to be checking out, like StarCraft AR on a table. Yeah.
That would bring, like, esports to another level.
Yeah. Well, you remember they had an E3 demo one year of someone with a HoloLens playing with someone in Minecraft, and there was a flat screen player, and then the HoloLens user had the Minecraft world that they could like almost build like Lego blocks, right? There's so much cool potential there, and they really stepped away from it once they announced the thing cost $3,000 or whatever, and obviously no consumer audience was going to fully embrace it. But that's another thing for them to step back to, right? Is to say, okay, what's the future of consumer AR? We've got Nreal doing kind of cheaper and cheaper products that aren't comparing to HoloLens 2, but starting to creep up. It's cool.
Shout out to Paradise UK. Thank you so much for your £2. All the best, Xena, in your next adventure. Thank you so much. Bloody hell, people are saying bye to me already. See ya! I'm off! Thank you, everyone.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of done on.
You're kind of done.
Xbox. Are you done on? I'm done.
I'm done.
I'm out of here.
I guess that's the last discussion
that you'll ever have.
That I'll ever have. Merry Christmas. Cool. Yeah, that just about wraps up the VR Gamescast.
Just as Jack Lol says hello. Hello, Jack.
Hello, Jack Lol. It has been an absolute pleasure, everyone. I've really loved the VR Gamescast. It's been something that I was very, very hesitant to join at first because I kind of felt like I wouldn't have the immediate knowledge or conversation topics to kind of warrant being part of it. But it turns out I've enjoyed it a lot.
I think you've been so good. It's been so great doing this show with you the past. It's been, we've been doing it for about 2 years together now, haven't we? Which is really...
That's what she said, yeah.
Which is crazy.
Sorry.
Thank God you're leaving. And it's just been really, really nice, because the thing I've loved about having this podcast is the different tone we've always had from the great work that Ian, Heaney and Carl do on Monday with their download show, talking, you know, strategy and hardware and stuff like that. And, you know, we've got to come in here and have something with you guys that's, I think, has had camaraderie, I guess you would say, to it. And it's been fantastic. And I'm looking forward to thinking about how we can take that forward in the future. But it's definitely going to be really, really different without you. And then, you know, going beyond the Gamescast, because, you know, it's not just that you do, like, I'm sure you guys have all noticed just generally on our YouTube channel over the past 2.5 years, like the quality of everything has picked up massively. We've done incredible content like our Quest 2 review, like hardware reviews last year, like the Vario Aero, and of course a showcase which would not be possible without what you started there. And have done 5 times in a row, pretty much single-handedly. Like every showcase, again, I'm not exaggerating when I say all the production for every showcase. Every other one you see probably has teams and teams of people, at least like 5 people probably working on them. But you have done every one of those by yourself, and that is insanely impressive. And don't
forget VR Roulette, Adam Ansel says.
Oh yeah, VR Roulette also. obscure upload VR gem that you can find on YouTube. That was really, really fun. So I'm really going to miss you. And it's going to be very, 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 very hard to replace you. But you're not going far. I'm sure people will still I don't think I can announce yet. No, you cannot announce yet. Don't do that. Not now. Yeah, no, it's a thing to be excited about. And I think you'll probably be telling people on Tuesday, right? So
yes, Tuesday on Twitter, I'll be telling everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm not going to have this PC. Jamie's going to take it. I've got the perfect setup and everything.
You're going to... I think if you're wondering, like, how it's going to look from here as well...
Yeah, how is it going to look? I don't know.
There's still things to decide about the Gamescast. I think we're probably going to have a couple of weeks at the very least of probably more pre-recorded stuff, guys. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get in the live aspect of it, like, straight away, because, you know, things haven't completely lined up yet for what we do post Xena.
Thank you so much, Skiva. $5. Goodbye to an UploadVR legend. Good luck on your future endeavors. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think on video, probably going to see me doing a bit more video, like maybe being in front of the camera a bit more, but probably not as well edited. We'll see. And I'm
sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, no, we'll have other people as well involved. There's some really exciting stuff in the pipeline.
Oh,
with
sexy
the community
bicycle.
In some senses.
Thank you so much. $5. Good luck with whatever's next, Xena. Thank you. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna miss saying your name every week in, week out. Sexy bicycle.
I mean, Giant Penguin wants you to do it one last time too. Shout his name very enthusiastically.
Of course, we are not alone. Giant Penguin is here. Oh yeah, it's a sad one, but I'm trying to hold it all in, and it's okay.
That's gonna be great. Fine. It's gonna be great. There's great things ahead for you.
Yeah,
and I think when everyone learns where she's going, you're all gonna be like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I think there's a reason why I'm not getting too upset.
Oh.
Because I'm still going to be within VR in a big way.
Yeah.
Daniel Lingar-Leaper, good luck, Xena. Thank you very much for your £5. Enjoyed all the shows, always been fun and entertaining. Hope all goes well at Meta.
Daniel, you have been here for every show where Xena has come up with inventive names for Mark Zuckerberg. Do you really think she's going to Meta?
I am not welcome. Did you see how fast David from Meta left the chat?
Just ran off.
They're just disgusted by me.
Anyway, you guys, you can guess all you want, but you won't get it out of Xena, I'm sure. You won't get it out of Xena. Tell them nothing.
I'll say nothing until Tuesday, midnight, 1 minute past midnight.
Till then, we're going to go to Scotland for a bit.
Oh yeah, going to Scotland for the weekend.
Woo-hoo. Not much VR up there, but that's kind of the point.
I always forget the name of it, but there's an exhibition that's going to finish in February. The guy who did Jason the Argonauts and stuff like that with the claymation. Anyway, it's really cool.
People are asking for your Twitter, so I was going to show
What's my Twitter?
Visually.
At Xena. Thank you very much.
So you can see the standard going way up already. Cool.
There you go. You can follow me. I don't talk about VR that much. I'm a little bit of a...
Yeah, there might be reasons to still tweet about VR. Anyway, I'm going to stop dropping all these hints.
Anyway, I think that's just about it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
That's just about it. Very professional. Been good working with you.
And I'm going to shake everyone else's hand. It's, Ray Harryhausen. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That is the name.
Cool.
I was like, whoa, Jad Ranko, you just slammed down a D word, but no, he meant David. Only VR, we've heard that before when David left. I mean, David's very much still kind of in it.
David writes on the Oddcast blog, he's still pretty much in VR.
Yeah.
Pretty much in VR.
Yeah. Anyway, cool. Well... Catch you some other time, guys. I'll see you over on Twitter and in my next job. And who knows, I might come back to upload if everything goes bad.
It'll be fine.
I'll be running back, crying. Yeah, it's been lovely. All right, cool. We'll see you later, guys.
All right, guys.
Goodbye.
See you later. See you next week.